everyone. Welcome to the Femme Tell All podcast. We are so happy you're here. And I'm Madison Bellissimo.
And I'm Ruth Devereaux.
And today's subject, we're covering the cab light theory.
If you're not Sex and the City fans, let us break down this theory for you.
Let's do it. And first of all, we are major Sex in the Life fans. Sex in the City fans for life is what I was going to say.
For life. We're lifers for sure.
Yeah.
And there will probably be more topics we cover from that series because we feel like it holds its ground even, 20 years later?
Yeah. There's still a lot to relate on. Obviously, there was some problematic things. But for the most part, extremely relatable and a genuine story of friends and life in the city, which we love.
Mm-hmm. So the theory goes that a man, when he's just dating for fun, his cab light is off. Mm-hmm. And when he's ready to settle down, the next person, his light goes on, and the next person he picks up, he marries. They get in, and there's no questions asked.
It's
done.
Yeah.
So
we're going to debate and kind of go over what we think could maybe be true about that and what we think is not holding validity.
So off the top, do you think it's true?
I don't think it's not true. I'm going to be real with you. I don't think it's not true. Okay. I think I've encountered situations where whether I be like the girl that the guy was I'm a B. We also love black eyed peas. I don't know why I'm saying that. But anyway, I've been the girl that like a guy met for 2 seconds and was like, by the way, I'm trying to have a house and kids in 2 years.
But maybe you're just that girl. Maybe you bring that out.
I'm that girl.
In people.
Maybe, but I don't think so. I think that's where I've more experience. They didn't know much about me. You know, it's like they're putting me on this pedestal. They're just kind of going like, yeah, you fit the bill. You walk,
put a baby in you.
Yeah, you walk. You got you eat, and you got a brain. Okay, you're conventionally attractive for me. You know, whatever, like whatever your prerequisites are. But I've seen that, and I've also, you know, it's like there's so many memes on the internet of like girls that are like, I'm the girl that always prepares the guy before he gets married. Like I'm the girl before the girl that gets married with him. And I don't think that's wrong. Like I think that there's some people that like you date and, you know, and you can tell that they're really excited to marry one day, but they just don't feel ready. And then the next person they get into a relationship with, it could be literal months and they're like already married. And you're like, whoa. Like, and so I just don't think it's a hard, fast no is all I'm saying. What do you think about it?
I don't think it's true.
Okay.
And I'm only using Neil as an example.
Do it.
Because his light was very off.
he said, no cabs here. No cabbies here.
I'm not taking any riders.
You were like, I got money.
But when we met, he was not looking to settle down. He was not looking for a relationship. And he did know instantly. Like, he went home that night and said, I'm going to marry that girl. And I said, who, me? And
yes.
But he wasn't looking. And I think it's a theory, in fact, of like, of course, as men get older, they're probably more ready to settle down. But I don't think it's always necessary that they want to settle down.
Totally.
I think it does take the right person walking into your life for you to be ready. And so maybe the theory is because when they meet somebody, their light goes on because then now that's the right person for them.
And I will say, already I'm going to jump ship a little, but I think this applies for all genders. I truly
completely agree.
Because I know some women that just want a ring. And I'm not judging you, baby girl. I'm not judging
Have
you.
Your goals.
I'm not saying
get
that like
bag, get that coin.
Get that bag, get that coin. As I say in every episode. It's true.
Yeah.
Get the bag, get the coin, get the ring, get this like
get
house with the white
man.
picket fence. Do what you want.
Yeah.
But I will say sometimes I'm like, I've talked to girls that are engaged, that are engaged to be married or have gotten married, and they've looked me dead in my fucking face, and they've been like, I kind of hate my husband. I'm like, what? Are you okay?
I've also experienced this, yes.
It's not like a phenomenon.
No.
And I
think a lot of people think that there's like a timeline, like, oh, you date for this long, and then you get married, and then you have kids, and then you do this.
Yeah.
And it's not even about like, this is the person for me. It's just like, this is who I'm with right now.
No.
Okay, now I'm jumping ship a little bit.
No, I met someone recently that was talking to me about their fiance, and it was a woman talking about a man. and she was like talking to me about my dating experience,
Yeah.
and she was like, well, was he at least good in bed? You know, she's talking to me, and she's like, yeah, I only get to sleep with one person for the rest of my life. And she said it like that, and I literally was like,
And she's not even married
girly,
yet?
you don't have to. You literally don't have to. You can.
You have free will.
Yes, you can break up with them. You can ask for an open
Wow.
relationship. There's a slew of ways, right?
Okay, yeah.
But I was like, but she really was like, and I was like, like,
the other thing that's so interesting to me too, people cover so much of their truth with humor.
oh,
And
they
they'll
will
be like-
tell you to your face,
Yes.
I hate my husband. And you're like, that's not a joke.
Yeah.
You're just laughing to make it easier to
Right.
say.
Yeah. And I think as a side note, I think so many, like, culturally, people are accepting of like these jokes of like, oh, the old ball and chain, or
Yeah.
oh, like I do, like
Yeah.
happy wife, happy life, which I also is a quote I don't agree with. I don't think it's just one person.
I love happy wife, happy life.
No,
I
happy spouse, happy house.
Oh, we love that. Okay. Well, I thought you were saying you don't agree with like
No, 'cause it's
keeping
not
your
one
spouse.
side.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, she got me. We're just flip flopping on each side here. At least we like to debate,
Yeah.
which is nice. But okay, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Happy spouse, happy house. I love that. Where did you hear that?
On the internet.
And that was provided by www.
The internet.
But it's true. I think so I've noticed it in all genders, all sexualities as well.
Yeah.
But I do think, like, obviously we're talking about men specifically in the first,
In the theory, it does
Yes.
apply to men
just men.
specifically. Yeah.
And I do think that some guys I've met where they really just, they went,
Guess it's time.
yeah, I guess it's time. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
and whether that is with their current partner, because
Yeah.
I think that can happen too. They go like, well, yeah, we've been together for 8 years. So
There's
the
this-
next step was marriage.
There's this guy that I'm not like friends with, but like I know through friends that is like total like player and like is also dating this girl that's incredible. And he's like keeps her around, but he's like, if I was older, I would marry her now. But like cares about this person, loves her, refuses to settle down with her because he feels he has not reached that age yet.
I think my theory is
that.
standing. There's some legitimacy
Okay, so
here.
how about we break this in pieces then?
Okay, go ahead.
The shitty guys and the good guys.
I love that joke, and I agree with you, and I want to be like, yeah. But I will say, I think it's just cluelessness. Like, I
Yeah.
think, I don't think it's malicious. I really don't. And I also don't think, I think it's misguided.
Yeah.
I think it's societal pressure that they go like, oh yeah, by this time I want a kid, and this time, blah, 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 you know.
Do you think that leads to the rate of divorces that we see in our country?
1000%.
I saw another video on the internet where they were interviewing this older couple
Yeah.
and they were telling them, like half of marriages end.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like from like Eastern Europe and they're like, in where? In America. There's a horrible accent.
Yeah.
Don't go me on that.
Yeah.
But they're like, in America,
Yeah.
like you guys have a fight and then you guys break up. Like
Yeah.
we commit to our relationship. And they're like, any regrets for being married
Yeah.
for like 50 plus years? And they're
Yeah.
like, no regrets. And then they
Aww.
kiss. But it is like, I feel like I wonder in society, in America specifically, are we creating this guideline of like you have to get married by this age or else
Totally.
like you're failing in life,
Well-
and therefore you commit to somebody that you maybe wouldn't normally commit to?
I think that's a fair theory. I think absolutely. And I think, as we've talked about in previous episodes, like it does depend on where you live too. You know, like in metropolis areas, I look at anyone who's married before 35 and I'm like, you're a child.
I would agree.
What are you doing? Why are you?
Slow down.
I'm like, you're rushing. And they're like, no, I've been in love with this person for 10 years. I'm like, blasphemy. You know,
How
like,
do you know?
yeah, exactly.
Blasphemy.
But, literally. But I'm like, and theoretically, if I met someone tomorrow and then was in a relationship with them, would I be like, I have to wait until I'm 35? No, bitch, Madison Bellissimo, you are a hypocrite. Okay. Like you would not do that. But like, I do look at other marriages where I'm like, you guys are so young.
Yeah.
And like,
How
I
old
think
were your parents when they got married?
my mom had a baby. Oh, child mother. And she had a baby at, she turned 27, or she was turning, no, excuse me. She turned 28 right before she had Max, I think.
Wow. My mom was 25 with 3 kids. She was a baby.
No.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
No. And I actually,
I'm like almost 40 and I'm like, I'm too young.
yeah,
I'm
literally.
not ready.
You're like, I'm not ready to be responsible for another thing. Yeah, no.
The cats are enough.
Yeah. No, my mom is actually 27. I'm sorry, Mom. I did the wrong math. But 27. She just turned 27. Wow. That's insane.
That feels super young.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, but then I'm like, she did it great. Yeah. Like
She's
my parents are obsessed with each other. She's a great mom.
Yeah.
And like, do I hear stories of like Max and Alex's like formative years where I'm like, LOL, you guys didn't know what you were doing. Yes, 1000%. But they did a great job.
Absolutely,
you know, it's like all parents don't really know what they're doing. Yeah. They can read all the books. They can do it, and we can do another episode on that. Yeah. But like, you just go with the. I think
best, as a parent, as long as your child feels loved.
At the end of the day,
that's all that matters.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And at the end of the day, your spouse should feel loved. So don't rush into a marriage. I'm sorry.
How long do you think people should date before they get married?
I actually, funny enough, I have a very apparently strong opinion on marriage right now, but I don't think that there's like a preset.
Yeah.
I do believe that like depending on your age, depending on how many people you've dated before, like. Yeah. I know, like, my siblings, for example, have been in relationships where they were, like, 6 years long, 7 years long, and they didn't even get engaged, right? Yeah. And then, like, they're with a new partner now, and I'm like, you guys could have gotten married last year. You know, like, I'm like, it doesn't, you know, you guys, we all know. Yeah. Like, you're it, so why don't...
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it already.
And you know, like, we don't, we don't, like, skirt around the issue, you know?
Yeah. Love that.
So that's where I do think, like, I wouldn't judge anyone. You know, I think there is, like... I think in your best case Barbie dream house, like you are together at least probably a year, I feel like at the very least to get married. But I know people that have done it in less and are fully still together and happy. So who am I to fucking judge? I'm also not married, so I can't say shit right now. You know?
I'm married, but I'm not married.
Yeah. And you've been previously married.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, and you are betrothed pretty much. Just missing a couple of things. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's true. Anyway, let's go back to the subject. I'm doing this for you, Neil. So anyway, I do think the Caplite theory stands out. I love that we call
him out so much on this.
He's like a mascot at this point. But I do think the Caplite theory does exist. Like I do think there are people out there, and I'm really saying people with my chest, all genders, all sexualities, that just feel like it's time. Yeah. And then the next person they meet, if they don't have any glaring red flags, they go,
they'll do it.
They'll do.
Yeah.
We'll have fun.
Yeah. I could see that actually. Like now, like the more we talk about it, I'm jumping ship a little bit. And I think it is the societal pressure. Mm-hmm. And I think it's for women too. And I think it's like when you reach a certain like either stage in life, regardless of the age that is, and that is very dependent on your social surroundings.
Totally.
You feel the pressure to say like, okay, this person works. I get along with them. Like I'm just going to get married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We coexist well together. Yeah. And even another Sex and the City reference, Charlotte York is in one of the characters in it. And she's about to get married. She, in one of the episodes, goes, I'm getting married this year. And she does. Yeah. And it's like, she just decided because she was tired of dating and she wants to have kids. Yeah. And so she does marry a man that she loves in the show. Yeah. But before she's getting married, she reveals a secret to her friend of like their, like an issue in their relationship, her and her soon to be husbands. And she goes, should I go through with it? Yeah. And then she goes, I love him so much and I really want to get married. Yeah. And I think that's where I'm like, there are people just out there that that's the lesser of two evils. Yeah. You'd rather not be alone. And trust me, I get it that you're like, life is scary in itself. Mm-hmm. Why would I want to go through this without someone by my side that's a champion for me? I'm not judging you even in the slightest. Trust me. Trust me. I'm not judging you for that. My Libra, like all up in my chart is like partners always. But I think there is something to be said about like you can really screw yourself if you get with the wrong person. Absolutely. Just out of haste. And it's like, I encourage you to find peace and trust yourself and your instincts and go with the person that you think is right rather than feed into societal pressures or even pressures that you set for yourself. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of like what we're even taught is at a certain point, like, again, coming back to women, that you won't find anybody anymore because like now you've reached a certain age where you're like not
like, as desirable.
Yeah. Or sought after or like, you're a spinster or like you're just going to die alone.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And like, it's not, I'm so sick of these words that are associated with women, whereas men can marry and find partners well into
Any
their
age. Yeah.
80s.
Yeah. Well, you've mentioned this before, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
so glad that you did, I think the reason you have Neil now is because you would come to a moment of acceptance in your life where you were like, I might not get married.
Yeah.
And even though that was the thing that I would want in my best case scenario, I'd want to meet a partner that I'd spend the rest of my days with.
It wasn't ever marriage for me. Like,
It was
I didn't
just a
want,
partner.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a partner. I wanted a partnership.
Yeah.
Like, but I for sure was like,
But you had
against
said
marriage. Yeah.
Yeah, you had
Yeah.
said like, oh, that's an interesting point. I'd love to get into that. But like you said, you know, I had realized I might not find someone,
Yeah.
and that's okay. And I'm okay with that. And I
Yeah.
think, and I don't think I hate the like, you must love yourself before you can ever be loved.
I
Like,
disagree with that. As
yeah,
well.
we can get into that. But I do think that's where it's hard for me when people are like, just when you're not looking, you'll find someone. Trust me. And I get that there's some validity to that, but I'm like, I do think it happened in your instance, but I don't think it always happens.
I
Like,
don't
I
think
think
so
someone
either.
can teach you how to love yourself
yeah.
and like open up.
I completely agree. And I think I had gone through a journey where I did love myself more at that point, but I've also learned to love myself even more now,
yeah.
being with the right partner. I've
Yeah.
also learned to love pieces of myself because like that, like my partner's able to like mirror that back to me. Like,
Totally.
so I don't think it's like this full healing. I think
Yeah.
you do need to like work on yourself in all aspects of life. Even when you're in a partnership,
Totally.
you should continue working on yourself.
Yeah.
But if you're single, even more so, like take that time to really like discover yourself. And we watched that movie when we were both single, How to Be Single.
Yeah.
And it was like, this might be the last time
Yeah.
that you're single.
Yeah.
And to enjoy those time periods in your life.
Yeah. And thank you for saying. And that is something that like when I'm feeling down about being single, which is not very often, but when I have moments of that, I go like, what about if this is the last time I'm single for
Totally.
like the rest of my life?
Yeah.
And of course, I don't think I'd regret the partnership at all, but I'm like, there is something to have solitude and like have just you at the
Yeah.
living by like already right now I've lived by myself for the last couple of years now and I'm like I like shudder at the thought of like living with a man. I'm like, yeah, of course, like when I'm dating someone I want to spend all my time with them as much as I can, you know, without it getting to an unhealthy part, but like
of
or
course.
point. But yeah, it's not something that I would jump at.
Right. Yeah. Listen, like I love living alone.
Yeah.
And I definitely have always like reveled in the fact of like coming home to my own
Yeah.
space and like knowing nobody's touched my shit and moved it. Like it's where I left it.
Yeah.
And me and Neil will probably move in. No, not. We will be moving in together
Yeah.
shortly. And like I'm excited for that too. But like I even said to him, I was like, "You'll never live alone again."
Yeah.
Like,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And you just have to go after what you want, you know? Like I think that a lot of people do like lean into the camp of like, I need to do what's best instead of like what I want, you know?
That's a great point.
Yeah. And I think again, that is the cab light theory of like,
Yeah.
you might getting family pressure. You might be
Yeah.
at home and your parents are like, why are you single?
Yeah.
Why haven't you brought a nice girl home? Why haven't you brought a nice person home? Like, and it's, you can't get away from it. And you
yeah.
watch media and it's like all about couples and you're watching these reality TV shows about dating and fast dating. And you're like, well, people, and then we have accessibility all the time now with dating apps.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that goes into it.
dating
Where,
apps.
I want to
No
do an
worries,
episode on
yeah.
that. But you have so much accessibility now. So in some ways, I think it creates more commitment phobia. And I think in some ways it also just makes you go like, oh, nice to meet you. Yeah, you fit the bill. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good. Let's do it.
I also feel like with that theory, I feel like the way things are set up right now, it extends that time period. Again, switching back to men specifically, where their light would stay up longer. Because I feel like I know so many bachelors well into their late 30s and 40s that are like, no, I'm still not ready.
Yeah.
And they're still dating passively because like they have the ability to because of dating apps,
Yeah.
because of like the array of beautiful women that are out
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it is the fear that you will find someone better. And like, oh, well, what about if it's too late if I commit to this person? And that's where I would reference you back to our episode that we just did, which is you can leave at any time. You know, you can choose what's, you know, what's best for you. And like, of course, I wouldn't recommend that you hop from one partner to a next, like willy nilly. There's people's feelings involved, and then let alone if your lives are, connected. But don't have a fear of commitment and not commit to someone just because you have a fear that there's someone better out there.
Yeah.
Like, either take that as a sign that you don't like the person that's in front of you quite enough, or take that as a sign to like work on yourself and maybe work with a professional. And explore that theory. And then
the reasons behind it. There might be some very valid reasons, whatever you might have gone through or experienced in life that led you to that place.
Yeah.
And it also means, it also for men too, if your goal isn't for a relationship and it never will be, and that's just what you've committed to, like, that's fine too.
Yeah.
That's your decision. I think it's always just being upfront and honest with anybody that you're dating, that is not your goal. That is not what you want. And then letting them decide if they want to spend their time with you.
Totally. I agree. And if my future mans is out there listening, leave that cab light off. I'm chilling. She's waiting. Now. No, I'm chilling right now. And then when we meet each other, Cool. I'll see you there.
I'll be there too.
Yeah. But I think that's our take on the cab light theory. Do you have anything else to add?
No. And so just to wrap us up here, I think we've come to the conclusion that it is probably true in a lot of different scenarios.
It can exist.
Yeah, and I think it might be because of society. And just remember, like, you have the decision to make your own life the way that you want it. Be upfront and honest with everybody around you and go for what you want. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy you're here. We'll see you next week at Femme Tell All.
Thank you so much.